Manchester United crisis. Where else to start than where everybody else blames all the time for any crisis at any football club? The man in charge, Eric Ten Hag.
Yes,
Eric
that's his
should
name.
have been 10-0.
Yeah, Eric 10 seconds.
Eric 10 seconds.
Eric 3 weeks.
Eric 10 more seconds than you. So, we'll start this with Dan.
Yeah, let's go with Gino, because tell us about Ten Hag's good times. Good times.
Go ahead.
Tell us about the good times.
The good times, and where people loved him.
Go ahead, Eagles. Warren name.
Was he actually rated in the Netherlands?
He was. He really was rated in the Netherlands. So he promoted Go Ahead Eagles, which is a great name.
That's a great name.
Then he went to FC Utrecht after being the assistant at Bayern. With
Bayern,
Guardiola. He did very well at Utrecht. Also took them into Europe. They didn't win like the playoffs, but they went to Europe. And then he went to Ajax, and he was amazing there. Of course, he reached the semi-finals. Was record after record.
Be completely honest for me with 1 second. When Ajax made the semi-finals, if they beat Spurs, do you think they would have beat Liverpool? Because I maintain to this day, I think they would have.
They would have stand a very good chance. But
giving Ajax his flowers.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Do you know when he was at Ajax, because there's this narrative around Man United that we don't like the way that his style of football, right? Or transitional, very reactive football. United fans ain't used to it. We don't like it. More progressive was what we want. What was it like that at Ajax?
No, it was like very attacking, very much looking for the free people, like movements at the pitch, and then creating chances, and they scored a lot of goals.
I think that a lot of people haven't acknowledged with that Ajax team. The football they played was brilliant, it was beautiful, it was progressive and attacking, but they had so many good technicians that just perfectly all came together for 1 or 2 seasons at the same time.
Van der Beek.
Like you had Van der Beek was playing well, and he was playing in the more advanced role. Obviously you had Frankie de Jong, you had De Ligt coming through, you even had Tadic, who got like a mental amount of goals that season, you had Daley Blind like coming into the midfield from left back and stuff, and he had so many good technicians that just all clicked and played really well. Ziyech too. A lot of them actually weren't that good beyond those couple of seasons. Like you look at where Ziyech's gone now and stuff like that. But it clicked a lot, and it was all perfect. And that's why it's so hard to replicate it at another team, because you need 11 clones of those players essentially, because it was so regimented the way they played football and how they operated.
But you could argue that he made it click, right?
Yeah, of course. But I mean, that's never going to happen again, really. When you're so dependent on
it was a
all
freak
these
season.
It depends on
a certain skill set. How are you going to replicate that? Especially at a club with that much.
You just chase that you chase that profile in the transfer window.
Yeah, but
that's what you do.
Yeah, but again, it's hard to completely transform a team, isn't it? Like you look at our getting onto United now, and you look at the Ajax midfielder Frankie and stuff, and then we've got people like Casemiro or your Brunos or your McTominays. You'd need to change the entire squad to be able to implement that to the fullest.
The signings like Casemiro, that's a warning sign for me, because like that would have been okayed and ticked off by Eric Ten Hag. So if he's chasing a certain profile to play in a certain way, and he signs players which
that's what
completely
I don't
contradict it.
Because you sign Lisandro Martinez, who's one of the most technically gifted centre-backs on the planet, to bring the ball out and his passing and stuff like that, and then you sign a bit more of a destroyer in Casemiro to play in the number 6, which makes no sense. I know we couldn't get Frankie, but then you go out and get someone of a similar profile. There's loads of players knocking around like that. It doesn't really make any sense. It's like our team is a mismatch of, we've got Anthony, who's more of a, holds the ball up, a more possession-based winger. Then you've got Rashford, who's more transitional based, and then like I said, the midfield profiles make no sense. And you've got Bruno in there who can't retain the ball to save his life. It just doesn't make any sense. None of them complement each other.
One thing I do want to ask, though, again to Gino, because obviously you watched the Eredivisie more than any of us here. Anthony was apparently a good player at Ajax, from what I've heard.
We've seen him.
Obviously, he's come to England, and I don't know about you two, have you seen a United player, United sign a player, and him be this bad?
Currently, it is our worst ever signing.
For the money spent
by a
as well.
Distance.
100 million, right? Or
90. Yeah, let's not
So
take the piss.
my question to you is,
it's only 90.
My question to you, was there any of United signing him for that much money? Because only you will really know in this room. Was it justified? Was he that good at Ajax?
He was very good at Ajax, but it's still also Eredivisie, yeah? He wasn't in the very successful Champions League squad.
Yeah.
That was the season after. And then in the Eredivisie, he was very good. He was very annoying to watch as a non-Ajax fan. But he really had the skills, he had the assists, he had the goals. So there was something to say for it. But it also was just Eredivisie.
Yeah. But you wouldn't think the fall off was that bad.
But then again, it's how he plays, isn't it? And then he's joining a team that doesn't have an identity. Like I watched a bit of him at Ajax, and obviously you watch compilations, and that never tells a full picture of 99% of players. But how good he was at even picking the ball up on the byline, cutting in, then kind of playing those like in-swing crosses for like runners at the back post and stuff like that. And I was thinking, with like to Rashford, that's going to be fucking class. Yeah. And he just doesn't do any of that. He's just lost his way. He's lost his confidence.
That started well at United.
Well, yeah.
Arsenal.
3 goals in his first 3 games.
It was a surprise he started against Arsenal because he literally just signed. He can't have had many training sessions. He goes straight into the starting 11. He scores a goal and he gets subbed at half time. Like that was hello, I'm here, and everything.
The Everton goal was tidy as well. Them two were pretty similar, weren't they? Like ball in behind, running in from the right, cutting in on his left bottom corner. And we were like, I was like, oh, that's just what he's going to do now.
And they just didn't do it.
No,
about 15 celebrations after every goal as well.
Like Bruno Guimaraes when he scored for Newcastle. He's doing that. He's putting the back of his shirt.
The Pele tribute because he knew he wasn't going to score.
Oh yeah, against Forest last season.
He finally got to play Omar like a year later when he scored against Newport. He looked up to the sky. It's like fucking hell, bro.
Yeah, that was cringe.
Pele's looking down. Just
but yeah, I mean, Anthony for me is. No, he has been terrible, like Dill said.
Liked him, though.
No, I still do like him. I still do like him.
He loves shit players.
The reason is, right, when you look at a profile player and then you just tick off things that he can do, and it's like, I mean, work hard, beat a man, cut inside, can be tidy on the ball. Like, he does these things. Obviously, it's massively frustrating. But when you get players that are of a certain ilk or a certain profile, you could put Jadon Sancho in this bracket if you wanted to. Neither of them can play transitional football, and that's all Manchester United do. So the fact that he isn't thriving in that environment is not a surprise.
They do force players to try and do stuff that they're not good at.
I don't think we know how good or bad Anthony is because he's not been in an environment which suits his profile.
But you can caveat that with when he does get the chances and he does get the ball in good areas. He's been poor.
He's been frustrating.
If it was a bit like he's not really getting the ball, he's not getting much attention, we're not suited to him, which we're not. That's fine. That's a valid point. But then you look at him when he does have chances and he does have the ball and he has a chance to create something, and he's just been absolutely terrible.
I didn't expect him to excel, but he also, in the same breath, he shouldn't be this bad.
But he doesn't. It's not like he's showing his ability, but he's just not getting. It's not suited. He's showing no ability at all. Yeah. Like we always say, it's the same with like the Pogba situation. If you're that good of a footballer, no matter what system you're in, you should still. There should be something. If you're a talented footballer and a good footballer individually, you still should show those talents, and you just don't see it.
There's a ceiling and there's a floor, isn't there? And you shouldn't go beneath the floor.
There's no excuse for it.
Well, you know when Anthony did the spin? Yeah, the genuine question.
I was there for that.
I'm not even taking the piss out of the fact he did the spin because I thought, fine, do your spins all you want.
In the Europa League, wasn't it?
Did you two actually have a problem with it?
No.
Because I saw loads of like English pundits having a go at him for it, and I was like, "That's why you."
Yeah, well, they're just the Brexit idiots and the fucking like talk sport people who just make a mountain out of a molehill and just chat shit. I mean, we all do that to a degree, don't we? Like, but
people who like big up Brexit tackles annoy me as well. But that's a different.
That spin made no difference to the game.
So many Arsenal great players. Careers ended because of Brexit injuries, and let's do the Brexit injury. That's why England have won World Cup.
And well with that Anthony thing, people like to see players express themselves and be different, and then someone does it and he gets shit. It's like when people moan about them being robots in interviews, and someone will come out and say something a bit controversial, like, "Why the fuck said that? Why don't you just play football and go home? Like, what do you want? Make your fucking mind up." People will moan about anything. I know that more than anyone here.
I have no problem. Are you Ten Hag in or out?
Ow! What the fuck kind of question is that? Who's Ten Hag in?
But the problem with Ten Hag out, then who in?
Inzaghi, maybe.
Ten Hag in or out for me, it doesn't make a difference right now because any manager that was going to succeed at Manchester United post Fergie, post David Gill mainly, would have been successful in spite of the environment that they're in. Until we get that right, until the director of football is right, till sporting director's right, I don't think it matters.
No, it doesn't. But if we are having this remodel now and this kind of reshuffle, which it seems like we are, he can't be the guy to spearhead it.
This is why I asked the question to Gino earlier. Like, what was his style of football like? Because he transitioned.
Well, we know what it was like because we've seen it as well. Not as much as Gino, obviously, but we have seen it.
It's not the same.
And also, teams can play differently in Europe to they do in the league as well.
You talk about reshuffles though, but then you're a big fan of Shaw. He's just been.
I'm not on about a reshuffle of the squad. I mean, of the club and the way it's ran.
It's a fat reshuffle.
Well, of course it does. The reason I can't. All the problems at United, you mentioned in Luke Shaw, that's just an agenda, bro. Let's be real.
He's been there for so long.
Yeah, but he's not the issue. It's like people who have a go at Rashford. Yeah, he's poor, but with all the stuff that goes on at the club and you're digging out one of our most talented footballers, it makes no sense.
Rashford isn't talented.
Right, okay, yeah. No, Rashford's shit, mate. He's got like 150 goals. It's terrible.
He is a bit bad.
Right, okay. But yeah, no, we can't have if we reshuffle and we pay 15 million quid for Dan Ashworth, we get in all these other people like the guys from Southampton and Chelsea and maybe Dougie Friedman or whatever it is from Crystal Palace, and then we have Erik Ten Hag spearheading that. It just makes no sense because he's shown that he doesn't have it. He just doesn't have it.
No, he's shown that he hasn't gone in that direction. He has. I think the answer to it lies in a question that we will never have the information to, and that's a conversation between Ten Hag and Ashworth.
Yeah, but all these excuses get made for him, like the squad and stuff.
It's objective. It's not excuses.
I'm not
saying Erik Ten Hag in. I'm just saying I don't think that we will get the information that you would need in order to make that decision.
Agree with Dan.
Yeah, probably. But I mean, like when you just look at the football that's being played on the pitch, and yes, it's a mixed match of players, and it's not the best squad, and they're not in great form in general. But there's still no identity to the football team, and that falls on him.
I think
there isn't. We played last season. We played transitional football, and it worked.
Yeah, but
we're not doing that. And now it's like we've got worse. The team's disjointed. There's gaps between the midfield and the defence and the attack.
That's intentional, though.
It's not.
That gap between the midfield is 1,000,000%.
Well, it makes no sense then because it's fucking daft and it loses football games.
Whether you like the identity or not is a conversation.
There is not an identity.
There is.
We
play the same way week in, week out.
Yeah, which is fucking turgid and dog shit.
So you don't like the identity, not that one doesn't exist.
It's because we approach a lot of games differently. We do.
I don't think
we play different formations. Sometimes we play Bruno on the right, then we'll play Anthony, then we'll play someone else, and we'll start fucking forcing when we've got Ahmad on the bench. Like it just changes every week.
Ahmad's another one that can't play transitional football, by the way.
Oh, well, no,
he's another one.
But forcing. I mean, he played 10 minutes and he started Premier League games.
The physios.
This is a point actually that I was going to bring up, and I forgot about. The reason we get so many injuries, it was highlighted on Monday Night Football the other week, I think, when Carragher did it, is because we have these such huge gaps between the defence and the attack in the midfield. So if we're going on the attack, we've got Rashford, Bruno, Højlund, Anthony, McTominay, whoever, 5 or 6 players up that side of the pitch. And then we lose the ball because we've got such a massive gap in the midfield. They're having to track back 50, 60 yards 10 times a game and all these high intensity sprints and then stopping again and then starting again. And it's no wonder we're getting so many muscular injuries when we're playing such an intense kind of brand of football.
But it's not
like we're playing Klopp heavy metal football and it's entertaining. It makes sense. It's because of how badly the team plays and how badly it's organised that they're having to do these high intensity sprints all the time. Then we're getting injuries every week.
The idea behind it is sit back and make it difficult to play against when they got the ball in and around. We almost want the opposition to have the ball the majority of the time. But then when we attack directly in numbers, right? That's how it works. And the idea behind it is our chances that we create are going to be better than the ones that you create. So naturally we should win. But it's high risk. It's not controlled. And playing transitional football, that Luton game, is like that shouldn't happen to a Man United side. So I don't like that identity. That does exist, by the way. I don't like it. If that is Ten Hag's version of what Man United looks like, then I'm Ten Hag out. I just don't know that information.
Okay, so moving on from Ten Hag, because we can talk about...
It's fucking depressing. I've just been repeating myself for a year.
Yeah.
That's all I've been doing. It does get boring.
I hear you.
We'll talk about Onana quickly, because before you jump down my throat, I am willing to admit Dill was right about Onana. He did improve. He was shit at the start of the season, but he gave me nothing to go by. He had a few good games, and I thought everyone was being blinded.
Only his football geniuses saw what he was going to do. You didn't notice it yet.
He's not that good. He's all right. But why do we ask a goalkeeper's opinion?
Yeah.
Because I saw something that said Onana is so... he hasn't been taught the basics of being a goalkeeper. He's very eccentric for a goalkeeper. He hasn't been taught the basics, which is why he's prone to an error every now and again. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, that is fair to say, but so's Alisson.
Gino, is it fair to say?
I think it's his own style. His style of play is a bit different, but I like it. I've always liked him. I liked him at Ajax, even though I'm not an Ajax fan by any means. But I liked him at Ajax. His ball playing abilities, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's like top 3 in the world.
Yeah, and again, that was highlighted more at Ajax because of how they play.
Yes, exactly. But also shot stopping wise, he was very good. At Inter, I really liked him.
Yeah.
So I thought this summer that United signed the best goalkeeper in the league.
So did I.
Yeah, after that Champions League final performance, because at Inter it was a bit different to Ajax, obviously, wasn't it? And he's a bit more under the caution code on a bit more and didn't really ball play as much. But
they didn't sign the best one, but Spurs signed Vicario.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What a signing that was, man.
He performed better, yeah. But Onana, he needs some time, and he had some time, and he adapted.
Yeah.
And he's been doing very well lately.
One thing I said it in January when we were talking about him. The one thing I respect about him more than anything is that he didn't change.
Yeah.
And he never, he wasn't...
I did always respect that.
Footballers always get stick for doing the same thing over. And so do managers, you know, like Arsenal under Arteta, for example, at the start when he was there, and doing the same thing and it not working. But then if you give up on yourself and don't back yourself and play differently, or, you know, go into your shell a little bit and aren't as eccentric, or don't try as many things, that's going to affect your game long term.
To be honest,
respect that he's not changed.
When I was hating on him, I think I was just literally focused on those 2 Galatasaray games because that killed him.
No, the Champions League was terrible. But like we said at the time, in the league, his form was pretty
the
decent.
Galatasaray games killed me, both of them. I didn't like him for a while.
No, I don't blame you.
I've come round to him now. He was really good against City in the first half. He's had some good games.
He's had some really good games.
He's had some very good games.
We'll move on from this particular segment of it, but just before I do, I'll ask both United fans. If you were to literally just say 2 words, which player would you most want to get rid of, and which player would you most want to... I don't mean Amrabat, because he's like going anyway. We all know he's shit. I mean, which player would you think we would really benefit if he just wasn't there anymore? And which player would you really benefit if we had him? I don't really want much of an explanation. I just want 2 players.
I'm going to
2
have to
words.
think about this.
I can do that off one.
Go on.
Casemiro, Onana.
No, he means who would you sign?
Onana. Everton.
Oh, Amadou Onana.
Yeah. I'll show you. I would have said I was only allowed 2 words, so I couldn't say his first name.
We know what you like, so we're just checking up on you, bro.
So you get rid of Casemiro for Onana. That's very
Dementia setting in.
That doesn't really need much explaining, because that is fair. I think a lot of people agree.
Do you know what? I said Onana in January that we should sign him as well. I hate Casemiro. So I agree, mate. He was terrible, and we don't want to like aging these clips, but against Everton today, the first half that I was watching, sat there, the amount of times he gave the ball away and how slow he is nowadays, it's terrible.
It's also important, without being a nerd about it, for FFP with his salary, like it is important.
Yeah, 350 grand a week. We're never getting rid of him unless Saudi come in. That's the only chance we have, to be honest. Yeah. Come and save us. Okay. But yeah, no, I think get rid of Casemiro. Onana's a decent shout.
I'll go Rashford for Neto. But anyway,
that's mental. Fucking hell.
I just wanted to prove Rashford. I really did.